The genesis of the speaker series came from the lecturing I was doing. I love teaching graduating cohorts of engineers in colleges and universities across North America. Why? Because about a third of each engineering class are going to become entrepreneurs, and I love to see their deals very early on. Everybody knows I'm an investor. I love startups, and I love the energy. From those experiences came the books. I always found that students were eager to learn more about entrepreneurialism and the structure under which you build a business. I wrote about the challenges of pursuing a lifetime of entrepreneurship from within a family. After all, in life, what is more challenging than the relationship between men, women, and money? And then came Shark Tank. Nobody knew how this platform would become so popular. After all, why is business so fascinating to people? What are you watching when you watch Shark Tank? You're watching the pursuit of freedom.
So Tracy, Danielle, welcome back.
Thank you.
4 sharks were out, and Mr. Wonderful made you an offer. He's giving you the $75,000, but he wants no equity. He wants $1 off every cupcake jar until he gets paid back, and then 50 cents from there on in until you can't bake anymore.
Don't do a deal that could cripple your business.
I agree with him. Don't do something that you'll regret afterwards.
Exactly.
Oh, Tracy, talk is so cheap.
Okay, we'd like to come back to you with 40 cents a jar.
Damn.
In perpetuity.
$0.45, you have a deal.
Come to mama.
We've learned a lot of important lessons. Things that matter to everybody in all walks of life about the human condition, what it takes to be an entrepreneur and what it takes to grow a business and how challenging that really is. And those lessons are great fodder for the speaking series. One of the most interesting outcomes of investing in private companies over the last decade has been that the majority of my returns have come from the ones run or owned by women. Audiences everywhere are interested in learning more about the specifics of how these women are managing their businesses so successfully and what we can all learn from these skill sets and strategies.
But it does give me great pleasure to introduce to the stage Kevin O'Leary. He's a self-made millionaire and TV news personality. He's currently, as you know, one of the main sharks on ABC's hit show Shark Tank. He's constantly featured in lots of business and economic, cable and news networks across the country. So with that, let's welcome to the stage with a thunderous round of applause, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. We're going to have some fun today because I want to start off talking about the Shark Tank phenomenon and what's happened with this remarkable show that many people thought would never take off. After all, people thought that business was boring. That's not what's happened. But there's so many interesting lessons to learn from the Shark Tank experience, and I want to share some of them with you because I've been teaching lately, graduating cohorts of engineers. And I do that because generally if you go to MIT or Harvard or to Notre Dame, you're going to find that a third of those business and engineering classes are going to become entrepreneurs. And when I teach, invariably people want to talk about Shark Tank and some of the numbers, and we'll talk about that today, but there's something I've learned that I'm going to share with you about Shark Tank that ends up being a life lesson, something that everybody in this room can use for the rest of the time. And I want you, if there's anything you remember about this presentation today, I want it to be these. I have watched thousands of pitches, not just on Shark Tank, but people that want to show me their deal over the years. So I've been looking at this stuff for 15 years. I've been in venture capital for a long time. There are 3 common attributes that are present in every single deal that gets funded. Doesn't determine the outcome of the business. That's a different issue. I'm talking about the moment where an entrepreneur or a team gets in front of investors and that decision is made to write the check. It's really hard to do that successfully. Very hard. But Can we learn anything about the instances where that happens? Are there any common strings and any common elements? And it turns out there are. These three elements are present in every single pitch, in every geography, all around the world, in every language that are successful in getting an investment. And I want to share them with you because I think these work for everybody all of the time. Number one.
When Discovery Channel approached me to be a host on the series Project Earth, I definitely took that opportunity. We traveled around the world exploring some of the most fascinating geoengineering projects ever designed to stop global warming on a profitable basis. I think this became really great content for what I do in the speaking series because there's so many different examples of how both infrastructure spending and the will of government can actually change the destiny of the planet. And it's terrific matter for the speaking series.
Kevin O'Leary, the team's logistics expert, has hitched a ride with Professor Keith for a fact-finding mission into the North Sea. They're headed roughly 50 miles off the coast of Norway. This is the Sleipner natural gas platform. It stands 650 feet above sea level and weighs in at 90,000 tons. Each year, it pumps up to 12 billion cubic feet of gas from below the ocean floor.
This operation is one of the most prolific gas fields in the world. It's producing almost $20 million a day worth of natural gas.
I like to organize a call months before the event to understand from the organizers exactly who's going to be in the audience and what their expectations are. Great speaking events are ones where the audience leaves feeling they've learned something. You can tell it's a successful speaking engagement when the audience gets engaged and the questions never stop.
Hi, with all the rapid changes in media platforms, how do you effectively measure customer acquisition cost?
Everybody wants to use Twitter, Facebook, Snap, LinkedIn, Instagram to try and get customers for free. This is really data mining now. And so good companies, even small ones, will invest to mine data that guides them in terms of their social media investing towards a better outcome, a better ROI, a better cash flow. And there's two types of companies, one that embrace that and invest in it, and those that don't. And you can start to see the differences, the success of ones that do it, because if you can reduce your customer acquisition cost by just 15%, that can be the difference between life and death.
Because I'm a multi-sector global investor, I cover a lot of different topic matter. Healthcare, education, financial services, technology, commodities, military and defense, real estate, and investing.
So years and years and years of making good and bad investments, great successes, horrific failures, I now have an intuitive feeling about people and investments. And that is, I guess, what experience is. And you know, I wish I had it 30 years ago, but the only way to get it is to make those mistakes in the first place. Anyways, thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed it. Take care.